welcome back to Astrology in the Wild. My name is Kei Tyler, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today, that you clicked on this video. Beautiful weekly astrology this week. It's really a dynamic week. There's a lot of things happening, which is why there's so many different videos and separating things, because people feel like in order to Virgo and compartmentalize things and make sure that they're in the right boxes, we kind of have to see everything for the details instead of the broader version or the broader view of everything. If we just zoom in and do little details, then we can see, oh wait, there's a pretty good strategy for like getting myself out of a situation, and I'm going to use these very particular, specific planetary energies to help me push through the light. So yesterday we finished up the last of that really beautiful Libra moon. It was such a lovely diplomatic weekend. Whether you were kind of feeling up or down, because I kind of had a little bit of both for the weekend, and it wasn't bad. It was just kind of realizing that choices need to be made, conversations need to be had, and just really thinking about the other parties involved, thinking about what it would be like to be in their shoes. And that's a very Libra expression. So if you felt like this weekend that you could really get into somebody's shoes, like you could really feel what they were feeling, or having conversations that were so reciprocal, that were so lovely. With Venus in the sign of Leo, when Libra comes up together, I don't know why, I just noticed this is so good. It's so juicy. It's so full of love. One can see their own radiance. The other person can see that person's radiance and then see their own radiance within that person. I mean, that is a very Libra expression. So I hope that your weekend was really beautiful. And if it wasn't, I hope there were beautiful moments and that you ate light and are ready for the adventure of this week. So Monday, we are kicking off a Scorpio moon. Scorpio moons are fun. It is going to be square Venus today, and so things may not be as lovely as they were yesterday, but they might be. And I'll say that because I think the importance of understanding when we come from moments like that is to just realize how much our lives have changed, or just being someone that can be relied upon. Scorpio moon is kicking off the week. It is opposing Jupiter and Uranus. And so what we're really coming to grips with today is how much things have changed. How good are we making our lives? How good does it look to us? And I can be sure that there are a couple things in your life that really do look and feel amazing. And there are some things where you realize that you would like to improve them, but not everything happens at once. And having room for improvement kind of always allows for life to kind of move, and you always have something to do. I mean, what else are you doing with your life? Just messing. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, we are coming and we are realizing where we are in our lives and how stable we can make ourselves, and might be working on a sense of consistency by cutting out the fat. So really understanding how and where we place our energy, and learning to simplify as much as possible so that we can be consistent. You can't be consistent if you have everything, you have your hands in everything. And maybe for some of you, consistency is not a thing you're looking for, but I know that a lot of people are searching for that in some kind of way. So if that's where you are, use Monday and Tuesday, part of Wednesday, to get into your body, to understand that you are in a different place than you were last year, and take that as a positive note. You may be feeling how you feel, but there are a lot of positive moments that we can pull out of this. So that's what I'm offering to you is, hey, can you feel that? I've got another video coming out with Mercury retrograde. Again, we're going to the details. So, you start with the larger idea of the moon. We're getting ready to come into the full moon phase in Pisces. Okay, let's go a little deeper. Now we're going to assess this week and how I'm going to apply myself this week in order to get myself to that full moon phase where I understand what the moon is trying to awaken in my life. And to even go deeper, we're running into a Mercury retrograde, which is not a terrible situation. It's actually a really good time to retrace our steps. We get a chance to do over. So it's like hitting the backspace key. In certain aspects, I would say, as I spoke about in my last video, there may be a potentiality for talking about something that might be crisis oriented, that might bring up crisis. But what the moon is trying to get you to believe is that if you believe, if you have trust, if you have faith in your natural way of living, by approaching and confronting a situation with your wholehearted honesty and genuineness about you, the outcome will actually be better than you could have imagined it to be. So we'll talk about that a little bit more through the detailed video, but I would say that we are really starting to gear up for a Groundhog's Day. You may notice that a lot of the things that you talked about, that you saw, that you've done before, you've been here before, you've done this before. Okay. You're having conversations and rehashing situations and seeing new people and people coming out of the woodworks, out of the ordinary, connections. So retrogrades can bring those retrograde situations. And it gives us a chance to, like I said, do over. How are we going to react? How are we going to respond? How are we going to let it sweep us away like we did before? Are we going to improve the way that we approach our lives as we see these repeating factors? And the opportunity with retrograde is yes, that's a potentiality. And with Venus being in retrograde as well, hey, your values and your alignments could really be uncovering themselves, making clear, amassing really brilliant ideas. Why didn't I think about this sooner? Why didn't I follow my intuition when I was told before? Okay, now the universe is showing me that I have literally manifested everything that I want. What can I manifest that I really, 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 really want? And that is the juiciness of where we're trying to get to. On the Mercury retrograde beginning, the sun will move into Virgo. So there's going to be a lot of earthy energy. There's going to be a lot of thinking about the practical details, thinking about how to make life work in a more productive, more efficient way. You may be more willing to cooperate on certain things and absolutely not jeopardize yourself or sacrifice anything else when it comes to the way that you live your chart and the way that Virgo shows up in your chart. Specifically, that's different for all of us. And so depending on where that is in your chart is kind of how you go about life. But in a general sense, Virgo is really trying to bring us some details and some strategies for figuring out and solving our own problems. Realizing when there is a problem, being present in our lives so that we realize that there are things that we need to fix, things that we need to polish, things that need to, go a little further. They need to actually be manifested practically. So you need to address the little tiny details. And Virgo really means detail orientation, and the mechanics of things, how things, what piston connects to what ball bearing in order to make the button push properly. It's like this. So that's what Virgo is trying to offer us in this season. So on Tuesday, we could be learning and seeing where we lack and where we want to fix things. We could be replaying videos. We could be looking over our work. We could have received some criticism about our work. And really, we're kind of being propelled into, okay, I see where there are some things that I would like to change. And as the moon moves into Sagittarius throughout Wednesday and Thursday, as the moon becomes a first quarter square, you can begin to feel the tension and the urge to make the changes apparent. You're gonna come to the table and you're gonna say, hey, I realize where I'm at. here is my positive solutions for how to come up with that strategy to solve it, to make things work, to make it more efficient. So on Tuesday and Wednesday, we could be seeing portions of our lives that we'd really like to make a little sweeter and polish and refine a tad. So take those things with a grain of salt, especially if maybe you have gotten some constructive criticism recently about your work and or the way that you are showing up in your life. As the moon moves into Sagittarius throughout the rest of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, you could really be ready to take those things that you heard as positive feedback and input, and could really use the creative change and tension that a square would cause to rise up to the occasion, to show your brethren, to show the people, to show yourself where you're at and what you understand, and that you do have a positive life, that you can see where there is lack and where there needs to be something that needs to be fixed, and that no, you're not perfect, but you can come close to an agreement with other people, and you can come close to understanding yourself. So with the last push of Mars and Virgo at 29 degrees, you could be really forcing yourself to get the things done. Maybe on the weekend, you had the conversations. Maybe on the weekend and through the week, you realized some really important details and information. And by the time we come towards the end of the week, Mars is really starting to fizzle out in the sign of Virgo. And so we're using a lot of that last creative oomph. You're using a lot of your restores, your energy stores. So I just want to remind you how important your daily practice is, especially when you're working with the breath. I'm taking this really beautiful workshop with a good friend of mine. She is doing a workshop. It's called From Surviving to Thriving. Basically, we are going through a season of Virgo, and we're getting together during this workshop to kind of discuss how we can improve our lives. How can we go from just feeling like we are at our wits' end, we are at the last moments of what we're able to handle. How do we go from that to a place of centeredness, to a place of groundedness, to feeling sure, feeling less anxiety ridden? And one of the things that she mentioned that was really important as we work with our metal energy in life, which is the way she states it, is working with our earth energy. And so Virgo is an earth sign, and Virgo rules the planet Mercury. So when we think of Mercury, we think of communication, what comes in and out of our mouth, the throat. And so with Gemini and Virgo controlling the planet Mercury, we could be wanting to using our words wiser and better through firstly training it through mantra, training it through proper affirmations. Redo your affirmations. Maybe they're old and outdated. Maybe they are coming from a place of scarcity and no goodness, okay? So redo your affirmations. Start listening to something new. When Mercury goes retrograde, don't listen to the same music. Don't listen to the same playlists, okay? You need to upgrade your life and listen to something new, because there's something new being woken up inside of you. So we talked about the Virgo, working the metal energy, working the earth, feeling oneself as grounded, using the breath, using the voice. So really good deep breathing practices are going to work for you this week, next week, and the week after. And new mantras, new affirmations, so that you can start to rewire as we are retrograding, rewiring ourselves to be more efficient for us. So that the end of this self-improvement stage that Virgo brings to our lives, Virgo really means self-improvement, and good, healthy daily routines. By the end of this, we're going to have something well established in ourselves. At least that's what our spiritual selves are asking for, is just a little bit more stability, a little less chaos. And when it can depend on something that is going to calm the nervous system through breathing, through meditation, through however you're going to get there, you're going to do far better in life. And so if you are looking for a practice, I am a yoga teacher, a Kundalini yoga teacher. I can take you through a personal journey of ritualizing your life, creating a spiritual practice, one that you can have every day. They can include things like Reiki, tarot cards, Kundalini yoga, breath work, working with the chakras, and of course, as always, working with the system of astrology. So if that seems like it's something for you, you can visit my website at astrologyinthewild.com. I have 2 amazing options where we work one-on-one. Okay, so 25th, which is Friday, we are coming into a mutable square. And mutability basically creates free movement in our lives. It really creates the ability to shake and pivot and move when we need to, so that we are able to invite change in our life. If you don't have the right breath, if your breath and your body are not linked, you could experience a lot of issues with receiving change, accepting change, and allowing it to come in your life. You may be too fixed about particular things. So remove the fixedness about how things are supposed to plan out, because it's probably not going to happen that way. It's probably going to happen even better than you thought it could. That's the thing about living in a human body and having a human experience, is that we have all these tools, these really beautiful things, where we think that we can engineer our way to success. And a lot of times we don't have the full capability of consciousness of what God or universe or source means. And so we end up, dumbing ourselves down. We end up reducing the role of a particular experience or what actually could happen, because we just don't have the full capability to imagine or even know how many different ways something could plan out, right? And so that's why I'm saying, if you can be mutable in your life this week, then you can usher in whatever changes are coming through, because they're coming regardless. And you don't want to create a system where you're not allowing emotions to come through. You're creating dams within the different energetic areas of your body, and you are going to stagnate. When a river stagnates, the fish die, and so does the plant material and all the microorganisms on the inside. And so in order for this water, in order for your emotions and for your personal life to flow well with water, you need to keep the energetic system and the energetic body clear. And so we've already talked about how you can do that, which is having a great practice, whatever that looks like for you, walking, those types of things. Another thing I wanted to mention about creating free movement with this mutability that's coming up on Friday, use it as a day to polish things, add the finishing touches, say yes, be sure of yourself, know that you can make something really beautiful, make something really refined, make something really worth looking at, worth buying, worth putting time and effort towards. As the sun opposes Saturn at this time, we're wanting to let things go. Letting things go is one of the most beautiful things that we can experience as a human being, to just kind of let go of our attachment to things. What I've noticed around Davis these days is people are getting rid of all of their extra stuff. Everybody's got this reserve of stores when it comes to the things that they have, and so they're all putting it out in the free box, and they're giving away these resources that wouldn't be any good to them anymore, any longer. They don't serve a purpose, but they serve a purpose for someone else. So letting things go, really, it's a selfish thing to bring yourself back into good standing, bring yourself back into simplicity. But what you're doing is improving someone else's life by letting go of that which doesn't really suit you in your day-to-day routine. If it's not a part of your day-to-day routine, you haven't seen it in forever, you don't know how much it's worth, you don't really care much about it, get rid of it. That's a really good way of tapping into the energy of this week, is to just let it go, let the air flow, let things change, let things move. I am ready for a new life experience. That's kind of the idea here, right? Hope this makes sense. I'm sure it does, because you're all beautifully, wonderfully smart, and you're all inner astrologers. So do not give up. If you feel the urge to give up on something, you want to stop watering your garden, you want to start and switch gears and kind of move on to another thing, I'm going to tell you to stop, okay? Just stop. Do not abandon anything. Do not run away from anything. Do not ghost anyone, okay? What you need to do is address life head on. Mars is supporting you to address life head on. You have good ideas on how to solve something. You are fully equipped to deal with any type of crisis. And when you are not, there are people around you that you can call upon to help you. There are videos you can watch. There are affirmations you can give yourself. But I want to just say, keep watering yourself. Where did I hear? I heard that in a show. There's this show on Netflix. I don't know. Okay, so I'll insert the words here. So it's basically this show about how this thick girl is a stylist. And I don't want to give away any details, but her and her best friend are constantly talking about, girl, you need to water yourself. Girl, you need to water this or that. And I feel like, yes. Yes, water yourself. Continue to water your gardens, because we are not done with the harvest. We are not done figuring out this week what we are trying to uncover, what we are trying to do so that we can get closer to our natural sense of being. And so don't give up on anything. Continue to try. If you didn't reach the goal, like per se, I didn't get this video released yesterday like I wanted to, but I'm doing it now. I'm not giving up on the idea. I'm redoing it in a different way. I have to reimagine it, and I have to be willing to change and flow with things so that I can be consistent. And so I'm glad that I had things lined up so that I could just hit make available, and I was able to still feel within myself that I was doing myself justice, that I was still staying within my power with the way that I planned my life, with the way that I want to feel. Yet the details about how that came out is a little different than I thought it was going to be. And that is basically what we're dealing with. That's basically where you want to be. And if there's anywhere in your life that you could potentially bring this out, you should. The energies are here for you. Should you feel like it. It might not be a good week for plumbing. So 6th house, Virgo, sometimes some Sagittarian signatures can denote plumbing, sewage, the representation of shit flowing downhill. Maybe things are not flowing downhill. Maybe they're backing up. So I just wanted to make you aware of that potentiality. There's a potentiality for plumbing issues and or blockages of water. This is real. Whether it is a physical manifestation in your house or a physical manifestation in your body and your emotional awareness, it's going to happen. So I'm not sure how it's going to happen for you. You can always get a reading. You can always figure out more about your chart through going to astro.com and just knowing your birth date and birth time and just inputting the information and knowing where Virgo and Pisces falls in your chart. I mean, those are really important things to know, and I can help you with that, or you can continue to be your own inner astrologer. But when you know it's coming and you have a good and you can develop a practice, whether like I said, it's just pulling cards or tapping into yourself for a couple moments, tapping into divine connection, when things arise, you're able to deal. So next week, the following week, things will flip. Things will be quite a bit different in the way that you're going to approach the moon as it's going to be full. Everything is a progression, evolution, and a stage. So don't be scared. It just is realizing that we are not stagnant human beings having the same experience every single day. And when you wake up to that, sometimes what you're inviting is turmoil and crisis and realizing when things are good or bad. And that's why I'm here, because we're not immune, none of us. And no matter how hard you work, you're always running up against the currents. And we're supposed to stick together and support each other through these times. So moving right along, next week, you don't want to forget, there's going to be shaking, there's going to be moving. So you don't want to miss next week's video. It's going to come out on Sunday because I'm going to do my stuff, and it's going to work out right this time. You know what I'm saying? But how we're going to effectively use the energy next week, don't miss it. August 27th, next Sunday, we are having a cardinal square in effect. So the moon in Capricorn, the nodal axes in Libra and Aries, and the activation of Mars moving into the sign of Libra. We don't want to miss these changes, okay? I'll talk about specifically how that affects us in a general sense. And, you know, if you, like I said, if you know your chart, you can look through transits for that. But in a nutshell, this week, try your best to keep yourself as free as possible. More important things that I wanted to bring to our collective awareness this week as we battle, as we rest, as we find ourselves in these really amazing places, is how maybe your body might be affected during this time. The body and the mind are connected. When the mind is chaotic, when the body is chaotic, you almost feel like you can't deal properly. And so, because we're leading with so much Virgo in the chart, we need to consider our immunity. That could mean immunity of our actual immune system, or the immunity we have to actually deal with life. You may not have anything in you right now, and that is okay. Reversing that is going within, allowing yourself to take some space and take some rest, so that you can deal, so that life doesn't feel so drastically difficult. So immunity is important spiritually and physically inside the body. And by spiritually, like I said, it means being able to tolerate life and what is coming at you. You're going to need a lot of this immunity. We are all looking for this. I'm not saying that there's going to be any crazy new pandemic coming around, but I mean, when we are prepared, when we are ready, we can do well. And so building the right defenses for ourselves. So one way to build a good defense for yourself is working ahead, gathering enough resources to prepare yourself for when you need times of ease. So things may be easy for you right now and you think, I've got enough. Maybe there's a particular thing that if you were without that particular thing, you wouldn't be okay. And so now is a nice time to address those things. So that way you don't create any type of anxiety for not being prepared. Remember that you're not invincible. Remember that taking care of yourself and taking care of your body is a karmic lesson of consistency and a willingness to want to live one's life in a healthful way. And I know that a lot of you are looking to live a life in that way. We can see the importance of speaking up for yourself when it's time, having enough details, having the receipts, and being able to prove yourself in one way or another to yourself. And you may think that it is to impress or to prove to someone else that you are there, you are equipped, you are smart, you are resourceful, you're an authority, but really you want to prove that to yourself, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're striving for, is just be better versions of us. Like I said earlier, using mantra can markedly improve your life experience this week. So when your body feels affected, you need to close your eyes and you need to take some deep yogic breaths, or you need to come up with a phrase that makes you feel really good. And you just need to repeat that in your head over and over and over again. Make it a part of your morning practice. Do it while you brush your teeth. listen to really powerful messages while you work out, do it while you brush your teeth or take a shower. You always have time to insert better words of wisdom, ones that maybe you couldn't even think about, that could keep you feeling alive. You want to feel alive and movable this week, so try some new things. Like I said, it's a good time to, again, update your affirmations and reset your intentions. We just finished up a moon phase where we were kind of developing and realizing what it is that we really valued and wanted, and what we thought we could create in order to make that a reality. Yet now that we are enacting that reality, as things shift and move, so does our approach. Our approach needs to also match that. And so that's why I say update your playlist, update your affirmations, and resetting your intentions could really have you walking in some new light. So last couple things, Virgo season is coming on the 23rd. We'll walk into a season of autumn. What we are doing during autumn, what our circadian rhythms are preparing for. We're also going to be talking about where we can refine ourselves the most, where we can really shed some things to become more of our natural selves. And I appreciate you going through the week with me. I want the best for you and I. And as we move along in life together, I will continue to do more research and figure out better ways that we can live and feel connected and feel rested, grounded, centered, calm. I think what might be important is maybe pulling a card at the moment. I kind of feel like there's kind of like a last little cliffhanger of maybe there's something that needed to be said that maybe didn't get reiterated enough. And I love this card. The 9th house of faith. And so maybe you need to have a little faith in your life. Maybe there are some things where you think you can just calculate your way in and out of a situation. I'm telling you that you don't know how good it can be. So sometimes you have to do the cliche thing, which is give it up to God, girl. You gotta give it up. I love you. I hope you have an amazing week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing to life and being inquisitive about where your life can take you. Satnam. Many blessings. I'll see you over at my website. Subscribe.